Okay, give me 5, please. So today we're adding on another component, another COG skill. And this is going to be like one of the first opportunities I get to look at this COG skill, but it's not going to be the only one. So I'm going to look at your norms and active listening throughout this whole project, okay? So just keep that in mind. This is the rubric that I'm going to use. Notice it says follows your norms less than 50% of the time. That's a 1. So if half the time you're not doing it, you're going to score a 1, okay? Then it just goes up from there. 2 is over 50%, then to 75, 90, and then 100% of the time, okay? So you want to make sure that those norms that you just reviewed with your group, that you're actually following those norms, okay? So if you came up with a norm that said, I'm going to turn in all our checkpoints on time, make sure you're doing that, okay? Because that was the norm that you signed a contract saying, yep, I agree to this, all right? Also, deadline for checkpoints, you're following those at a level 3. And your roles, that sheet of paper that you guys just assigned to everybody, you said, oh, you're going to do this person, you're going to be this person today. If you follow that and need a little bit of redirection, that would be a level 3. But if you follow that without any redirection, that's a 5. If you're encouraging individuals to share their points of view, that would be a 5. Okay, so these are some things that you want to keep in mind. So I do have my norms and active listening sheet that I'm going to walk around with today while you guys are sharing. And I just kind of jot down some notes while you guys are sharing things that I notice. Okay? So questioning others in order to make ideas better. That would be something that I'm looking for from you guys. Connecting peers' ideas together. Oh, I heard that you said a bigger population would be more of a reason to have an earthquake-safe structure. Which one of you guys had a bigger population? Okay, I'm connecting that idea, that thought that they had in order to make a decision for my group, okay? So things like that I'm going to listen for in your group discussion. Allowing for individuals to share their points of view. Okay, that'd be another thing. So I do have quite a list that I'm just kind of listening in for to see, to kind of check you off for your norms and active listening today, okay? What I want to make sure that you guys do is that you're encouraging everyone in the group to share and to add to the discussion, and that you guys, I'm taking it back to making meaning, right? Kicking it old school. Do you remember when you had to thank your peers for sharing? Or oh, I agree with so-and-so, where you guys had cool little hand things.
Mr. Holscher has a thing.
Oh, there you go. Mr. Holscher does it too. He really loves that making meaning. Okay, so making sure you're thanking your peers for sharing, and before you move on to your next person. Okay, so today you're gonna need your checkpoint 2 in order to share, but I have some things that I want you to make sure that you do. So when you are sharing, the facilitator is going to pick who's going in what order, who's going to share in what order, okay? I also want the facilitator to make sure that they give time at the very end so that everyone can ask questions of that person. So before you move on, say, hey, does anybody have any questions? That would be a good thing that the facilitator might ask before just moving on to the next person. Recorders. You're going to make sure everyone's listening respectfully, so they're not going to have notes out. They're not going to have their computers out unless they're sharing from their checkpoint 2. They're not going to be doodling on my tables or on the checklist that I give you. Things like that, right? You guys all know how to listen respectfully. Eye contact, body language is really important. Things like that. So those are some things that I note on these papers, okay? So recorders, I want you to make sure that if you see anybody off task, to kind of just give them a friendly reminder, okay? Harmonizer, you're going to be sure that everyone's respectful of each other's ideas, and you guys are going to be in charge of leading your location choice. So you might say, okay, everybody's shared, everyone's was able to ask questions. Now we're going to make a choice. Maybe you decide we're going to take a vote What location do we think would be the best to build a structure for and take a vote for it? Maybe you have a tie. It's your decision to figure out how you're going to break that tie because we're pretty even for most of our groups, right? So maybe you have 2 and 2. Maybe you decide, you know what, we're just going to do rock, paper, scissors to figure out our decision, okay? Things like that. So Harmonizer, it's really up to you to help facilitate that decision in your group, okay? Materials Manager, you're going to ensure everyone has their roles printouts and their computers today. You should be bringing that stuff anyways. And our timekeeper, if we have a timekeeper, just to make sure that you guys have enough time in class today to work on your checkpoint 3 and work on checkpoint 2 fixes. Okay? Are we clear on our roles?
Yeah.
Awesome. Don't go anywhere yet. Once you finish and decide on a location, you now magically have checkpoint 3 in your project. Ooh, it's like magic. Okay? Everyone is going to complete checkpoint 3, but guess what? You guys kind of get to cheat a little bit. Whoever's location you picked, they're going to email their checkpoint 2 to you, and you're going to copy and paste it into checkpoint 3. Why do I want you to copy and paste into checkpoint 3 somebody else's work, Connor?
So that we have all the work that they did and our own one.
Ding, ding, ding. You guys have to do this as a presentation in front of people, right? That's your end product. I want you to have all the same exact location information for that presentation because, hey, it might be your job to build that slide or to talk about that slide in front of everybody when you're doing your presentation. So you want to make sure that you have all the information. So everyone will be taking that checkpoint 2 that they email you, and you're going to paste it into checkpoint 3. On the bottom of checkpoint 3, though, it says, hey, group, is there anything you need to add? This would be the time that you would want to look at my comments because I said, hey, you didn't talk about why the plate boundary is even important, why that's significant for that area. Or, hey, you only talked about the history, like this earthquake happened, this earthquake happened, this many deaths happened during this earthquake. That's all you talked about. You didn't give me anything else. So you only really talked about the history of that location. Maybe you want to add in some more ideas like the political, economical, social pieces in that area to help convince people it needs an earthquake-safe structure, okay? So at the bottom of checkpoint 3, there is an opportunity for you guys to add in things, but you're doing it as a group. Checkpoint 3 should look the same for your whole group, okay? What's going to happen is, once everyone in your group is done, only the recorder in your group is going to hit submit. It clues me in to tell me your whole group is ready, and I'll be able to check into all of your group members. So everyone's still doing it, but only the recorders are going to actually request for feedback. Are we cool with that? Okay. Then, if you finish your checkpoint 3, the last thing that you can do is go back to your checkpoint 2, look at my comments. Even if it's green, you have comments from me, okay? I gave you a practice grade. Your practice grade might be a 1.5, okay? It still looks green because you did it, but it's a 1.5 COG skill grade. Is that a good grade? No. So I added in things for you to do to fix it, okay? So even if it looks green, that doesn't say how well you did it. It just said if you did it or not, okay? So you want to make sure that you're looking at my feedback, and you want to make sure that you're changing things and then resubmitting to me before Thursday. Thursday is going to be the official date that I'm like going through and regrading you, okay? So I do have like my steps up here for your day that I can put back up, and I'll try to kind of go through and gauge where everyone's at in class today to figure out what slide I should be on. But eventually, if you guys want to take a peek, because this slideshow is emailed to you, it does have the steps for you. All right, some questions. Noah.
Okay, so when we make those changes to the checkpoint 3, we do the thing, we look at the comments, whatever, and when we go back and do our checkpoint 2 revision, let's just use the example mine got picked, right? And I want to improve my grade on my checkpoint 2. If I go and completely change my checkpoint 2 to add a bunch of stuff, but we don't put it in that checkpoint 3 box, like do we have to?
Totally fine. But really, potentially, you're going off of the notes that I gave you with your group to figure out what you should add in. I think 3 people in your class actually scored a 5. So there's nothing that you would have to do. on your checkpoint to fix it. So there are potentially people who scored exactly what they should have for this. You know, they scored above and beyond.
I
So-
can just go and do my checkpoint 2, but it doesn't have to correlate with my checkpoint 3 after I.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Luke.
Is checkpoint 3 worth money?
No. So, checkpoint 2 is not worth money because it's a COG skill, right? You already earned your money for it. Checkpoint 3, somebody already earned money for that checkpoint 2 because you're just copying and pasting it over, so it's not worth money for you today. Okay? So, no money today together because you're pretty much just copying and pasting. Okay? We cool with that? Abby.
Are we getting graded on our checkpoint 2 if everyone isn't picking that? Like,
Everyone is going to get an individual grade just on checkpoint 2. Because I want you to have your own grade for making connections and inferences.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So even if your group doesn't select that for checkpoint 3, you're still getting a personal grade on your work that you did for checkpoint 2. Okay? I didn't want all of my COG skills for this project to be all group grades. So that's how I solved the problem with that. Connor?
What do you do for if like 2 people choose the same country? What do you do? Who copy and paste it to the?
I would go and look through and maybe whoever has the higher score, whoever has more information, like things like that. So it would be something that you guys need to decide as a group with.
The paper thing, so we shouldn't have.
Yeah, some of you were absent, so you might have, oh, whoops, we picked the same location kind of hiccup. But the majority of you shouldn't run into that because we had the paper in the middle and you guys all picked a different location. Cool? Yes? Any questions for me?
No.
All right, you guys are sharing with your group.
Okay.